Right, this video is going to talk about using tar. Tar is a utility we use to create archive files. You also can use it to extract files out of archive files. So we're going to go through some of the different ways you might run into or desire to use tar at some point in your Linux career. So first off, with tar, we are going to exercise some of the basic tar functionality. I have a couple of things in this directory. I have a sample tar file, and I have some stuff we're going to use to create a tar file. So first we'll look at the sample tar file. With tar, you need one of the three main options with it. You can use a C to create a tar file. You can use X to extract a tar file. And you can use T to look at the contents of the tar file. So you need one of those three things. Right. I'm going to look at the contents of the file. So I'll use a T for that, and then you can use the F to specify what the file name is. So I'm going to say, hey tar, show me the table of contents for the file sample tar.tar. So it shows me the contents of that tar file. So if we look inside this tar file, there's a directory called WSM, there's a directory called public HTML, and there's a bunch of other files and directories inside that tar file. All this command did was show me what is inside that tar file. So if I do ls, I still have the same two files. I didn't actually extract the file yet. So next thing we'll do is we'll actually extract those files. So if we look again at that table of contents, we see that it was created with a relative path of ./WSM. So it's going to create this WSM directory and everything underneath it when I extract it. So if we go back, I told you X was for extract, F was the file name, and then we can put the name of the file. So that ran and extracted the file. So now if I do ls, I now have this WSM directory, and if I look at the contents of that directory, it shows me everything that's in there. So that was what I just extracted from that tar file. So the next thing we can do is we can create a tar file. So I have a file called a directory called some stuff to tar, and that's just some random stuff I copied from some different places. Basically, we want to add that to our tar file. So we need the C for create, we need an F to tell it what the file name is going to be, and then we specify what we want the name of the file to be once we create it. So most of the time, I like to just call it whatever the directory is, if there's a directory.tar or some other meaningful name. And then after you do this, then you need to specify what you want to add to the tar file. So I'm going to say I want to add / some stuff to tar /star. So add everything in the some stuff to tar directory to my tar file. So we'll run that. It runs. If we look at the directory, now I have a file called some stuff to tar.tar, which is what I told it to call it. And if I look at the table of contents, tar with the TF, some stuff to tar.tar, we can see that everything that was in my directory is now in that tar file. So that was looking at the contents of a tar file with the T, creating a tar file with the C, and then we also extracted a tar file with an X. One thing I like to include with my commands is I like to, well, let's delete those things I just added so I don't get any errors. So I'm going to remove the WSM directory, and some stuff to tar.tar. I'm going to remove those two things. Another thing I like to do when I use tar is there is a V switch for verbose output. If you recall, when we ran the command to create, I can't scroll back very far, that's unfortunate. When we ran the command to create the tar file, we'll do it again. When we ran this command to create the file, it just ran and returned the prompt to you. If you run it with the V option, it actually reports to you as it's running. So if you're tarring a bunch of stuff, it can be helpful to use the -V so you can see as it's scrolling through. Sometimes when I'm creating backup files of different things, I end up with very large files in there that I don't really care about. So if I use the -V, I can see that it's hanging on something. I'm like, oh, it's hanging on that giant archive file where somebody left some code they downloaded from the internet to compile a package. I don't really want to back that up, so then I can tell it not to back that up and run it again. So the -V works with the extract option too. If you recall, when we ran the extract, it just returned our prompt. If we, I'm going to delete what I just extracted. If we run it with the V, it tells us what it's extracting. I like the V. I use the V a lot. So that is the basics of using a tar, the tar command. A couple other things I will tell you. One, I will show you. If you're extracting something from a tar archive and you only want to get part of it, say I look at this tar file, tf sample tar.tar. I look at that and I'm like, oh, I only need to get this. I only want to get what do I want to get. I only want to get this file out for some reason. You can run the extract command. You can run the extract command, and you can specify which parts of that you want to get out of that file. So here I'm going to tell it to get me that one specific file. Right, bin, that's a bin 2, I want bin 3. WSM, public HTML, inc, bin 3. So it did that, and if I look, I have a WSM directory, but if I run ls and look what I actually have in there, I don't have everything. I just have the inc directory, the public HTML, inc, and bin 3. So that's how you can get a specific file out of a tar archive if you only have one file that you want to get out of that tar archive. You can also use some keywords. Let's look at the man page. You can exclude things if you want to forget, like say you're backing up and you don't want to get anything that ends in tar. Say I don't want to include any tar files in my tar of this directory. There's like a -- exclude somewhere that you can tell it to exclude things. Probably should have found that. Yeah, there we go. Exclude equals patterns. You can do something like exclude equal .tar and it will exclude tar files or something like that. I use that all the time, but I have to look up the syntax every time. So that is the basics of how to use tar.